Have you lost confidence in your competence? Have you taken so many L's or losses, so many blows? You've been in the valley for so long that you don't even remember what a mountaintop looks like. You can't remember the last time you won. When you look at the garden of your life, whether it is your relationships, your work, your finances, your body, it seems like a constant state of failure. If that's you, you may be tempted to give up, to take what life gives you. Anywhere the wind blows, that's where you will go. You know there is more, but you don't know if you can get that more, if you deserve more. That's exactly why I created the Success Farmers Guide, for farmers who have lost faith, to have a space where you can come to reflect and discern what is your next best step. So get dressed and let's return to your life's farm. You can still flourish, but you have to still be willing to put a few more seeds in the soil. Oh, I have to pause and ask that special favor, right? Please take the time to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you never miss when we have fresh, engaging content for you. And be sure to like this video if you actually like the video, and comment below. Tell us if there's a topic you want us to share on in future episodes, or give us your thoughts on this conversation. And please don't forget to share this in your community. If there's anybody you know who could be blessed, empowered, enriched by this message, please share it with them. Thank you in advance. Love, light, and blessings. And so I want to invite into this conversation anybody who has suffered so many L's or losses, so many failures, so many setbacks, so many hurdles, so much hurt and disappointments and betrayal and no's and rejections, that you are at a place where you don't even want to try. If that is you, stay with me, because that's the conversation I'm going to have tonight. If you don't have that challenge, if you are confident all the way, if you already have your plan and maybe you're looking for some support to build the consistency, you can still stay with me. While this might not be for you in this season, you never know if I might say something that helps you when you get to this point, because at some stage on our journey, in our seasons, we all get to a point where we begin to question ourselves, our capacity, and our worthiness. We call it the Impostor Syndrome. Yeah? So that's part of evidence that you have lost confidence in your competence when you face Impostor Syndrome. But even if that never was your case and will never be your case, there might be somebody in your life, in your community, in your friend group, in your family, in your bedroom, that is suffering from that same sense of incompetence. They no longer believe that they have what it takes to do something impactful, to do something and be successful at it. It don't even have to be no massive impact for other people. Just something that they would put their hands on and it would actually work. They have lost any sense of confidence in their ability to be competent in anything. And so they either don't try very hard, don't try at all, and sit in spaces that dishonor their capacity, show them no respect, offer them no room for growth, do not recognize their work. And in some instances it gets so bad where people are talk to them like them and are nothing, and they accept that space of stagnation that sometimes morphs into disrespect, that sometimes sees people dishonoring you. You stay there, or someone you know may be there, because they doubt that they could do any better. And I understand how we could get there spiritually, because if you lose so many times, why would you keep strapping on your shoes to go and try and win? At some point, your logical brain is going to say to you, what are you doing? You'll never win at this. Stay here. Don't try. Sit down. Watch other people do it. And it is amplified too when you have people in your environment who affirm the negative self-talk that you are already sitting down and settling in to. So they recognize that you are vulnerable to this kind of reflection. They know that deep down you want something more, but they recognize that you are vulnerable, that you kind of don't believe that you can do it. So while you want it, there's something on your shoulder that is constantly, the little devil constantly reminding you that you can't do it. And they see that vulnerability, and there are people in your life who will poach on that, who will manipulate you because they recognize that, who will feed into the negative self-talk that you are already talking. And if you're not talking it yet, they might even be the ones to bring it to your feet. But because your soil is ready to receive that negativity, you scoop it up and it soaks in, because that is the seed that you want to plant. Mentally and spiritually, emotionally, that's what you believe anyway, even if you don't start saying it. And their energy can see somebody who they can prey on with those damaging words. And then energy pick up, say, oh, that one, yeah, we can beat it down in our one corner. If I talk these things to this person long enough, anything when me want them to do for me, them I go do. If I keep this person at the edge of them seat, believing that I'm the only person who can give them hope, because by themselves they're not gonna ever cheat on them, not gonna be nobody, then I will always have power over them. I always have someone that I can control. So if you are engaged in the negative self-talk, or if you surround yourself with people who speak negatively into you, you will always question your competence. You will always lose confidence in your competence. The word is confidence. Can you say confidence? Confidence. Wait, take that up. You have to fix it back. Take it up. Yes, you'll always lose confidence in your competence. So whether it is your mind that you have to clean up, or your environment that you have to clean up, something has got to give. Otherwise, you will never develop faith in yourself. Faith enough to get on your farm. Let me fix it for you. Come, let me put it back on. You don't want to put it back on yet?
No.
You see the sleep in your eye? Oops.
You want
to say confidence?
I asked 53.
You're what?
I asked 53 today.
If you don't clean up your mindset, and if you don't clean up your environment, there'll always be people poaching on you and preying on your vulnerability to soothe their own ego, because there are people who feel small until they're making others feel small, and that's when they feel big. So they like to be around those who don't have confidence in themselves, because it allows them to feel. Go for your tablet and I'll take it for you. I'll set it for you. Right, they like to surround themselves with people who are vulnerable, people who are low in confidence, people who lack confidence in their competence, because it helps them to feel bigger, stronger, and more successful. So they'll never empower you, because disempowering you is where they get their power. And we have to be careful that in our vulnerability, we're not surrounding our people who feed off, poach on, and are nourished in our weakness. So understanding that there are people who are like that, who love it when you are down. Yes, and you can tell the friendships that seem to thrive when you are worse off. When you're doing well, there is no community. There is no invitation to come over and talk about what's going on in your life. But when you are low, when things look like they're not working out for you, that's when some people want to surround you. And that's usually an indication that your weakness and your vulnerability is feeding their ego. They like to know when things aren't going well for you, because in some warped and dysfunctional way, it helps them to feel better about what's going on with them. So you have to be very, very careful of your thoughts, but also the toxicity that might be in your environment. Sometimes that toxicity too can come from social media. So the accounts that you choose to follow, the people that you choose to follow, the things that you're watching on YouTube, the prompts that YouTube gives you at the end of a video to bring you into certain conversations, that can also be an indication to you that the environment is toxic. If everything you're watching, let's say one time you go search for something on Google, and that's how the algorithms work, right? You search for something on Google, and Google is communicating with YouTube. And so the things that come up to you on YouTube, whether it is the ads that pop up in your video or the videos themselves that you're watching, that is informed. Okay, I'll take it out soon. Put it back on, but just be careful. All right? You okay? So the way she uses her headphones, right, she puts them over her ears, and no matter how loud this is, she still wants to squeeze it on her ear. So of course the earring is pinching the ear. I'm going to take it out soon. Yeah, so your toxic environment can also be your digital environment, because these apps are communicating with each other, sharing your information. And so again, you might search something on Google and you realize it's following you on YouTube, mention something in WhatsApp. And remember, we know it's one company on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, so we're not gonna pretend like we don't know. Mention something on WhatsApp and you go on Instagram and all those things are popping up as ads. In your mind, you say, no, the think about this, I didn't even say it to anybody. Well, maybe you said it to somebody on WhatsApp. And Mr. Zuckerberg and his awesome self just decided to share that as part of what you will see on Instagram. No, they'll never admit it, right? Because they tell you they're not sharing the data. But 10 years from now, something like WikiLeaks will come out and then you'll realize that they were actually doing it for true and never go so them say they not do it. All right, let me know if you're still hearing me. So it's important that you pay attention to the negative self-talk, one, but also the digital and physical communities that you are part of and conversations you're participating in, because those things can stimulate a lack of confidence in your competence. So you look at life is giving you some serious blows. You feel like you're in the midst of suffering all the time. You can't win, not everything will go wrong. And then you recognize that you begin to think that this is the life that I deserve. It will not get any better for me. I will always be in this place where I'm struggling and I'm not doing well and I'm failing. You look around at particular areas of your life. You want some help to push it up? Are you okay?
No.
I'll come and help you in a few minutes, okay? Right, you look around and maybe you see that your finances don't look so good. And you look again and you see that maybe your relationship with your parents or your children don't look so good. And because you don't sit down and actually review all areas of your life, those two things you could look at and think the whole of your life mash up and tumble down. And maybe all the critical areas of your life, when you look at it, you just feel like you're failing. And so you say to yourself, let me internalize this loss that I'm having with this external thing, right? I'm not doing well with this external thing called money, so let me internalize it and say I am a failure and I am worthless. I'm struggling with communication in this relationship, so let me internalize it and say that I don't deserve respectful relationships and communication from other people. So you look at that external thing that you're struggling with and you say, well, how can I identify with that and make it part of me? And that is how you begin to feel like a failure because you are failing. I don't know anybody who, when they are, let's say I go to the gym, right? And my trainer gives me some laps and I'm running. When I'm running and participating in that activity, when I don't run, I don't say, wow, I'm such an Olympic athlete. Somehow I know that that activity does not give me an identity. Yeah? Rain is dropping on me. The raindrops are dropping on me, so I feel wet. Oh, I feel so wet. When I feel wet, I don't pause to say, and that must mean I am water. Yeah, the activity, I don't assign it as part of my identity. So how is it that we are so quick to assign other activities around money, around our relationships, around material things, around accomplishments, around recognition from the people who are in our lives, and the lack of it? We use that now and just kind of absorb it as part of our identity. It's a dangerous exercise. And that is the kind of exercise that causes you to look at the spaces where you are experiencing loss and telling yourself that it means that I am a loser. And you see, when you personify the thing that you're experiencing, you absorb it as part of your identity. You abandon the power that you have to impact the activity and the situation. Because as long as it is internal, there's something external, there's something you can do to act upon it. It is a thing outside of you, and so you can look at it with a little more objectivity. But as my friend Stasia always says, when you are in the frame, it is hard to see the picture. And so when you take that image that is outside of that framing of you, it is external now, so you're not in the frame, you can step out and see it. When you take it and put it in the framing of you and who you are, it's hard to assess it now, because now it requires introspection. You've told yourself that money and your inability to handle it, your relationship with your children as a parent and your inability to allow that to thrive is now part of who you are. So I am a bad parent, and you put that in yourself. It's now hard for you to assess what that means and what pathway you could have to deconstruct and improve that reality or that activity that causes you to think that, you know, things are not good with me and how I treat money, how I treat my relationships, how I treat my body. You continue to personify the experiences, and it diminishes your sense of competence and your sense of self-worth. And so if you are to increase your faith as a farmer, there are a few things you have to absolutely stop doing. You have to stop doing it. If you're at a place right now where you're saying, me can't manage, me can't go no further, the best is ever gonna come to me, and I try, because everything I try, it coming like it fail. Nothing I do amounts to anything worthwhile. Nothing I touch turns into success. All them over there and them do the same thing, me and them start the same place, me and them do it the same way. And for them wanna flourish and mine wanna fail. And most crosses them set from this man, they must obey me. What is wrong with me? If you're in that place where you have made yourself wrong and told yourself, I could never be somebody who plants and waters and cultivates something beautiful in my life. Other people can do it, but me can't create it for myself. If me ever get it, somebody have to come give it to me, because me can't do it for myself. If me ever get it, I must look and buck up in it, because me can't create it for myself. If you're saying anything like that over anything in your life, it means that you have lost faith. You are what I would call a faithless farmer. So you stand up and you look on your farm or your garden, and you don't even put a seed in the ground, because you don't decide as me drop that, you know, watch out, something will come dig it up and take it out of the earth. I say as me start planting, just look how storm will come. The storm never come for 10 years, you know, but the minute me plant something at them time, the storm will come. And so you don't do anything. You're a faithless farmer. You don't put no seed in the ground. You don't try understand what kind of soil you have and what seed would be best to plant in this season, in this soil. You don't start to think, but well, this goal I have, this accomplishment I want, you know, bring into reality, this thing that I want to achieve. What is the best strategy? What is the best tactic? What kind of fertilizer am I to use? Can I use pipe water, or do I need to use filtered water for water that seed here? Does this plant need enough water or a little bit of sunlight? You don't have any faith, so you never start doing no research and try to come up with a strategy. If that is where you are, you don't have to be there for your whole life, you know. Maybe you are there for just your body. Maybe for just your body, you said, this your body, I not get no better. My mother body stay, so my father body stay, so from a little bit of some body stay, right? Me can't get no better, nothing not gonna get no better for me. So what the sense me even try? Me not go no gym. You know, I say me change my diet, because me changed it last time and this never happened. You know, make no sense me watch this and try this because this never happen. You refuse to even plant a seed. Other people, you can work for them, but me not that kind of person. Them something that work for me. You refuse to even plant a seed. If you are in this space right now where you have convinced yourself that either your whole life is undeserving of any additional effort, or a particular area of your life, it don't make no sense you're trying nothing there, so because it just not gonna ever work. You're not the kind of person who get results in that way. If that's where you are right now, there are a couple of things I'm gonna ask you to stop doing. And until you stop doing those things, you'll always show up on your life farm as a faithless farmer. The first thing is a negative self-talk. You have to learn to talk to yourself better than how you talk to yourself. Somehow the way you talk to yourself, you wouldn't say that to the worst enemy. Somebody pissing you off and upsetting you, and still have a little bit of restraint and sense for you to say, this is not an appropriate thing to say. Sometimes it's not appropriate to say because it's just not true, right? A vexation make the thought even come on your head. So you know, so I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to say, just vex, so I want to say this. But we don't exercise that kind of restraint for ourselves. We don't give ourselves that kind of dignity. We talk to ourselves any way. Something go bad and you start quarreling yourself, oh, you're an idiot. Idiot for those who aren't Jamaicans. You are a fool. You have no sense. This fly. Me and it. My gear up feet, right? But it's a fly rather than get weak. So I just watch it. Cause it want me play Tom and Jerry with it. I'm not going to. My big woman, I'm not running the fly in my house. You go weak out. I'm going to just. You understand? You go come past me slow one at a time. I'm going to go. Yeah. Yeah. But I said feet. So if me talk too now, just because of just know how I go on. It passed me and it passed slow. Yeah, so the way we are talking to ourselves, it not inspire no action. Remember, say the first person we hear anything when we say we know. Before the word even found, we hear it in our brain, and then when it come out our mouth, it sound the loudest because that mouth it come from. The first person who hears what we have to say is ourselves. You can't talk to yourself a little better. What do you say to yourself when you fail? It's one of the questions we have in the quality of life assessment inside the Success Farmers Guide. There's a whole section where we have to just check yourself, like, oh, you deal with yourself, so. Oh, you deal with yourself, and why you deal with yourself, so. And one of the questions is this: what do you say to yourself when you fail?
I'm trying.
I'll get it for you later on, okay? Give me a few minutes. Fix that on your head properly. What you say to yourself when you fail? When things aren't going the way you planned, when the effort and the energy and the ambition and the desire where you put in on this thing and happen, what is it that you say to yourself when you fail? What you say to yourself? Just think about that. When things not going right, see, Zia, just pull it up a little more. More. You got it now? Yeah. She and the headphone are war. So see some people sharing with me. Some people sharing with me what they say to themselves. Brush yourself off and try again. Oh, laws of attraction says, it sounds like she said, I'm trying. No, she actually said, I want slime. I can't make sure you hear me repeat it. Parents, you know what slime is. Slime is not a nighttime toy. No. Me not pick up no slime right now. So she said, I want slime. So you have to be careful how you are talking to yourself. Someone has said, I did my best. Another person says, to be honest, sometimes I beat myself up, but then I eventually pick up at myself. Sabrina says, sadly, I cuss myself and ask, why is this happening to me? Sometimes I think I'm a curse. Another person says, his timing is perfect. I imagine you're referring to God. Hobbs says, I'm a loser. Kiki says, I make a step back and I reassess the issue. Car Hyman says, I'm going to trust the process. Peter says, try again. So let me be honest with you. I've said a little bit of those things to myself depending on what it is I'm going through. And depending on what stage of life I was in when it was happening. So money is one of the things that I share all the time. I used to struggle with my ability to manage finances well. And even as I learned better principles, it was so hard for me to put it into practice, because knowing is one thing, doing is a completely other ball game. It means going against every wiring, habitual wiring that I have been subject to and living by for decades. And so when I ended up in a bad financial position, I would say to myself, you're such an idiot. Oh, you're a fool. Oh, you never see that come in. And look how you see it come and you never do nothing at all to prevent it. Them something not stop I'm because you just not learn. You not learn. That's how I used to talk to myself. But I realized that whenever I talked to myself that way, it did not make me feel energized and confident and ready to go and do better next time. And so I said, well, let's change how I'm talking to myself. You know, I got somebody who was trained in financial management, especially personal finances. Her name is Kenisha Mays, and you can follow her on Instagram. Kenisha Mays. I think her handle is her handle is actually Kenisha Mays. Kenishia. So it's spelled Kenisha Mays, M-I-S-E. But, you know, she shared with me some things too that, you know, Krystal, these are some ways that you're going to stop talking, and these are some things that you're going to start saying. I'm going to just start saying some different things. I'm going to realize that I start feel better. I feel more confident when I have the money now on time for me to spend it on the credit card, and, you know, look, I'd come up and they say, do you want to buy, and sale is going on, and I say, no. Would say the thing what she did say to say. And as it was applicable in the moment, I said it. And it took a lot of saying, because sometimes we say it and go away and come back and still do the foolishness, right? But over time, I said it so much that I believed it. And that is the power of affirmation. That's why I encourage people to have their affirmations every single morning. You have to set up some affirmations that you're repeating every morning. One of the things I do at the start of each year is to set some intentions. So when we talk about revamping how we speak of ourselves and to ourselves, the negative self-talk has to be replaced by some positive affirmations. One of them was shared on the Success Farm today. That's at My Success Farm on Instagram. You can follow for daily inspiration. One of the things we shared this morning was an affirmation. The good in me brings good to me. And then to tie things up, because I'm also a spiritual person. I was raised in a Christian household, but I read widely around spirituality. So I'd say my base is still largely Christian, but I don't believe that only Christians have the correct understanding of the Creator. Let me see if you get what I'm saying there. I don't think only the Christians have the correct understanding of the Creator. I think other people also have correct understandings. So I read to glean from that what resonates and makes spiritual sense to me, what is on my vibrational wave. But by and large, my power when I look at words comes from the word in scripture. There are some things in the Bible that are debatable for me, and if you catch me on a good day, may I talk through some of those patriarchal, sexist, and just unreasonable things that were put in place for human beings to build societies. But I digress. When I look at the New Testament and the example of Christ and how Christ's disciples interpreted his example and shared that gospel, if you're somebody whose confidence in your competence has been compromised, here are some things that I recommend that you do. The first is to remove that negative self-talk and replace that with positive affirmations. And what I was sharing is that among my affirmations, the good in me brings good to me is one of them. I have a few more, but every year I look at them to see what I need to refresh based on the things that are inviting me into anxiety, into fear, that bring me a little bit of discomfort and uncertainty, that cause for a very tense emotional climate internally. I know I have to find the words to affirm myself, and I'm going to be refreshing my list of affirmations this year. But one that will always stay with me, the good in me brings good to me. But what I was saying is that I always try to back up an affirmation with spiritual teaching. And for me, the best place to look has always been in the Bible. And as I was sharing in the other video, while there are some things there that are debatable for me, like I think we need to really talk about the patriarchy and the sexism that guided some of the social principles that were set up. Beyond that, there are some powerful spiritual reflections. And one of them I find in Romans 8, all of Romans 8, Romans chapter 8. I absolutely love that letter to the Romans. And in Romans 8, there's a verse that says, all things are working together for the good of them who love God and are called to God's purpose. And so when I say the good in me brings good to me, because I believe that as a word, I say, where in the scripture can I find something that affirms that? Where in the spiritual teachings can I find something that affirms that? Romans 8. The good in me brings good to me. All things are working together for the good of them who love God and are called to God's purpose. So that's something I would recommend that you try. You could go with raw scripture. The scripture itself could be your affirmations. Maybe sometime last week, I actually saw Terry Carell post what her scripture readings are that affirm her. So that's definitely a way that you can go. But I do a mix of it where I have clear affirmations and then I have a scriptural or spiritual backing that supports it. So that's one thing that you can do. And in fact, inside our Success Farmers Guide, guys, there are only a few copies left. So if you're going to buy it, you have to buy it now. I think we're now down to 11 or 10. So I'm sure those are going to be out this week. Like after this week, it's done. But yeah, in the Success Farmers Guide, one of the things we have here is a self-definition and life statement section where you're able to see with clarity who you are defining yourself as, what energy and what trigger words. So sometimes you hear people talk about a word of the year. I call them trigger words or a trigger word because it could be one. But there's a space for you to accept the negative energies that sometimes get in the way of your momentum and your progress, but also indicate what trigger words are going to call you to action. And then those trigger words make it onto your vision board. And we recommend that those trigger words are also used as an alarm throughout the day on your phone, so that you continue to remember who you are and where you really say, I will call you to action for the rest of the year. And we also invite you to use your rising ritual, that process of getting up in the morning, including that prayer, affirmation, and reflective meditation, which means that every morning we're encouraging you to go back to your self-definition and life statement and reaffirm that. So that's something I do every morning, and it calls me into hope and faith. I remember who I am, even if yesterday was difficult for me. When I wake up every morning, I remind myself of who I am, the power I have, and the divine promise over my life. I'm not gonna make situations, challenge, and struggle turn me off from the job I have of getting up and planting purposefully in my life every single day. I'm not gonna give up on myself. But in order to fight the inclination of life giving you lemons, life giving you rock stone when you want bread, life giving you serpent when you look for friend and teddy bear, in order to not allow those things to cause me to give up on myself and give up on my dreams and give up on my ambitions and even give up on people, because sometimes life gets so rough that I want them to just live in a one cave by myself and just deal with nobody. In order to avoid that, I go into my spiritual affirmations every morning. My prayer, I have an annual prayer that I write, my meditation exercise, but also speaking differently over myself and over my life. That's the first thing. The second thing, well, part B, is to check the people in your circle who are talking different things from what you are affirm. And that's it. I'm not going to even go in a detail on that one day. You cannot say the good in me brings good to you, and then the other people them run here and say something else. Why come like say, I just the bad things they made do from long time, I just come back around for answer. That's why I have to be careful how we treat people, you know. Come out. If you're in an environment, you have to come out. And if you're not the same WhatsApp group together and me, I go, come out. Can't talk to me so. Can't talk to me so. Because I talk differently to myself. And it don't mean that you ignore the bad things that you have done, you know. But you're choosing to amplify the good that is in you, that can call out better habits and behaviors. Because maybe you didn't stay bad for you. But you're focusing on the good things that are within you that can cause you to rise up now and do some better things. Say some better things to people. Say some better things about yourself. Believe some better things. And change the habits so that they are better. So you can elevate your affirmation and surround yourself with people where try to draw you back down to some negative vibration. Come out. I see you guys writing, come out. I should probably make that the caption of this video. Come out. The other thing I'm going to ask you to stop doing is the comparison. There are seeds that you have that only you can plant, you know. But you see, you stand up on your farm and you look and you say, why? The neighbor gone 3 orange tree and me not even sprout or people have piece of fever grass yet. Imagine how when me start planting my something, my little bit of something will come up now and feed them one bigger than mine, and them go look at my thing and say, my something small. And then them go laugh for me. And then when people come for buy orange and whatever, them go buy from everybody, so them not go buy from me because my orange tree not ready. And so what you do? You don't plant, no. So you still not end up with an orange tree. And you allow the comparison of looking at what other people are doing and how it looks when they are doing it. And then looking at you, especially where you starting. Right? You look at them finished product and I say, well, look at me start. As if for them start never look the same way. But that's a delusion, right? When you are faithless, you compare yourself to the people who are around you, especially those who you think have similar traits and opportunities as you do. And you allow the envy and the comparison to stop you from trying. So you look around and you say, well, if it don't look too good, and my one can never look so send me try. Or you say, well, suppose if I plant orange tree and other people say, I follow them for plant orange tree. I mean, what's the comparison about? What if you're going to plant a very special strain of orange tree? Alright, them a plant fruit tree. And you know when nobody say, follow them and a plant fruit tree. But them a plant orange. Maybe you can plant tangerine. There's a similarity, yes. But there is difference to it because you're on depend it. And remember, say you never go over there and copy and paste it and put it on your farm, you know. You never go over there and say, let me teeth this and put it here so and go on like a mine, you know. You are discerning for yourself what could be your purpose work. And if when you sit down and you do your reflection, you realize your purpose work of a plant some citrus tree. Plant it. Whatever seed is in your hand to plant it. And stop watch people when them are going to say what them are do, who did start it before you. What going to say you do, you have your work to do. And the more time you spend thinking about what other people are going to think about your work and how they're going to grade it and assess it and stack it up and compare it, is the less inspired you will feel, is the less faith you will have in your ability to do your work. So absolutely, Jamaican sweet girl say you have to compete with yourself. And not for we try to compete with everything else, when our job is to compete with ourselves. And so because we want to cast out the comparison, what we have to do now, because as human beings, we love to grade and stack, we love to assess. So my daughter knows that she's short because she thinks I'm tall. If she was around all people her height, she would think that her height normal. But by seeing me as tall, she says, oh, there's something higher. So that means I'm short in comparison to mommy, in comparison to her uncle, in comparison to her father. So she understands that she's short and other people are tall. We have to compare. That's how we make sense of the world, But you don't have to compare in that kind of toxic, maleficent way where it becomes envy and bad mind and grudge. And you wish bad on people orange tree because you feel like say you alone must have said orange. You understand what I say? So in order to remove that inclination that you have, that useful tool for the evolution of mankind, for us to build our societies, because you have to be looking around and comparing data. It's useful to our evolution and our sustenance as human beings. But it comes to a point where it gets toxic and debilitating. And so you compare yourself into a space of toxicity where you cost everybody will plant orange tree and still not plant none for yourself. Or you are so afraid of what other people will say because you are now planting citrus fruits that you still don't plant. And you have to see them in your hand. And you're calling that to plant the seed them in your hand. So in order to satisfy that need for comparison, but in a healthy and non-toxic way, one of the things we ask you to do is to establish your principles. What are your principles? What are your goals? And what are your aims? Sit down and spend a couple of days, if you need to take the whole of January and do it, and assess what is your unique talent and skill. What is the thing that you've been doing for so long, and people always give you a compliment on it. People always ask you, if you charge, if you start a business, why you never used to do this, why you stop? The thing that when you sit down and you say, boy, if me did have the time, I would not do that. If I did have the money, but would not do that. That's sometimes an inclination, that's sometimes an indication that this is your purpose work. Sit down and find out what it is, man, and sketch that out with some precise goals. What am I going to do this quarter to actualize that particular goal? How do I break that down month by month to make sure that it actually happens? What will I do daily and reflect on myself daily to make sure that I did what I said I was going to do, to make sure that I'm accomplishing and planting the seed them when me supposed to plant upon this earth. Because if I'm dead with the seed, the creator go vex. Creator never put it on the earth to come take up space and name other people fruit. There's some work that you have to do, and that is the duty and the obligation that we have to leave our mark. I quote Massacre and his song quite a lot in these last days. Left me name the earth like a king. Left me name the earth like a king. Look for your way for left me name the earth like a queen and a king. No? There's something that you're supposed to do and you're free to do because you don't know what people are going to say. And when you do it, they're going to say something the same way. So if you just speak the same, where you want them to say, want them to talk about the thing on me plan. Talk about it. Maybe me get 2 customers. Talk about something we do. Versus talking about the fact that I'm not doing anything. Come on, man. So, again, inside the Success Farmers Guide, we have a section for resting ritual so that you can compare yourself against yourself. Here are some of the questions that we ask. Did I accomplish what I set out to do today? You notice the question is not, did I do better than X person or Y person today? Because that's not important. That ain't important. The goal was to accomplish something today. Did I accomplish what I set out to accomplish today? Answer that question and answer it honestly. And stop comparing yourself to other people. Compare yourself to the standards that you have set, the goals and ambitions that you have set. Another question is, how did I get in my own way? Again, honest reflection. Because sometimes, I say this often, and it's because I saw it online, it's not a unique thought. When we pray about asking God to remove the weapons that are formed against us, sometimes we weapon we form into self. We take the gun and turn it on ourselves and shoot ourselves in the knee and can't walk. And then I pray for the pestilence, free up. You are doing the self-sabotaging thing. So part of our Success Farmers Guide, and that's why we call it a guide, because we're pulling you into some new rituals and routines. The only way that you're going to do better this year than you did last year is to focus on yourself. Anyway, you see where you never did get no growth because the focus was off. I have to just accept that. There's no debate. Nobody go back there go find out who did I do something wrong and who never did the right thing. Your focus was off. And if you want to see better in those areas, you have to turn on back the focus and put that spotlight on yourself. And so we have a resting ritual there. So the rising ritual that helps you to focus on the affirmations, give yourself that power talk in the morning, and a few other elements are in there too. And then your resting ritual to grade yourself against yourself. Make sure that you're in a constant rhythm and cycle of assessing who you are. I do it every single day, every single night. Some people do it every week, others do it every month, some do it every quarter, others half a year, others do it one time for the year. But the point is to do it. Get into the habit of doing it. The more you look at yourself, is the more you see room for growth, more you see the way you're falling short, more you see that you do align your actions with your principles. Your talk say you're a Sabbath keeper, but you're not doing if you do on the Sabbath, right? But you have to watch yourself. Because you sit down and chat. Yeah, man, I'm a Sabbath keeper, And you never sit down and look up and say, and say if you do so. Me, that's Sunday worshiper, And if you not watch yourself, you don't realize you not do no worshiper no Sunday. But you have to watch yourself. Because you can talk a good game, you know. And we need people like that, right? Where them chat it up enough. Yeah, man, them ever have the plan, them ever have the idea, them ever know for them ever, yeah. And when you look on what them actually do, it not line up with what them say. So I have to continue watch myself, because I can get catching on a track there too. I have to watch myself in the morning and watch myself in the evening and watch myself at the end of the week and watch myself at the end of the month and watch myself at the end. I have to just watch myself. Sometimes people ask me like, you never see what I want, you never hear me. I don't know. Because honestly, did I just watch myself? RETV did I tell you a long time. Understand? Yeah. That was my Jamaican moment. If you're not Jamaican and you're wondering what I say, I am sorry. Alright. And in the final area now, because there are some of us who really don't know where to start. So the faithless farmer who has lost confidence in their competence. Yes? Lost confidence in your competence. Even if you do the positive affirmations in the morning, even if you're setting up the principles and doing your reflections in the evening, it still means that you know what to do when you go step on the farm. Like what of a plant, like all these things plant. Like when I start, which season me in, when I work on first, everything tumble down, drop, move, me can't build up everything one time. So when I start, I know if I start. And that sense of overwhelm, because you can't do everything one time and you don't know which one to do first. And you're afraid if you do this and not do that one day, something bad got to the one where you left behind and all of that. So what you do? Nothing. Because you're afraid to start and do it wrong. So you do need an action plan as well. And we've created another reflective section inside our planner that allows you to do just that. Look at some critical areas of your life. We have 8 key life areas that we usually do an assessment in. Love life, friends, family, finances are among them. And we ask you to look at where you are seeing a harvest or your wins. What looks good in these areas? Before we even ask everything go on our work. What looks good in these areas? When it looks so good, right? Like with the weed and the pest and them like something there, the parasite, them are, you know, things just not grow right. You never get enough water, you never get enough this, you never get enough. I'm sure. Oh, guys, tell me if you're hearing me now. Please tell me you're hearing me. I'm waiting. You hearing me? Can you hear me? Still not hearing me? Oh. Oh, you hearing me now? I say purple. Oh, yes. Okay, which means I have to wrap it up quickly, right? I don't want to lose the sound again. Right, so we do have a section that asks you, what look good, wanna look good, and what is the next best step to make the thing look good? Because we want the garden to flourish and we want it to thrive. So that is the key question that we ask you. So before I wrap up, I just want to go back over some of the things we discussed. If you are a farmer who has lost faith, a faithless farmer, if you have lost confidence in your competence, it could be because a few things are happening. You've either become overcome by negative self-talk, either in your own brain or the environment, the people who are around you. You could also be caught in a spiral of comparison where you're looking at what everybody else is doing and it's discouraging you because you feel like you could never do it, or you could never do it as well, or maybe if you start, you will be criticized or ridiculed, or maybe you're gonna fail. Or you don't know where to begin, and so because you're not sure how to start, you do not start because again you're worried about the criticism and the failure and having to figure it out and maybe losing in the process of trying to figure things out. In order to reset that energy of faithlessness, in order to answer that question of why do I not have confidence in my competence, there are a couple of things I recommend that you do. All of them rooted and backed by science, whether in positive psychology or the field of psychology in general. The study of the brain, the study of human existence, or sense of self-worth, or ability to work purposefully, passionately, sustain our outcomes over time. All the data tells us that one of the things that's most important is how you're talking to yourself. If you are not willing to be a cheerleader for yourself, it's going to be very difficult to get yourself out of bed in the morning. Also, surround yourself with nourishing voices. Make sure you're situated in the environment that allows and empowers you to thrive. Detach and disassociate yourself from toxicity, because you cannot thrive in toxicity. Who do you know plants callaloo and then turns around to pour all kinds of toxins on it and still expect a nice, lush harvest of callaloo? It don't work so. Right? And then the final thing, well, that was the first thing, changing is A and B. Changing the way you talk to yourself and the people who are talking in your ear. The second thing is around establishing your principles and setting up a daily routine where you're going back to look at yourself and check if what you say you're going to do, you actually do, so you feel consistent with your principles. That helps to build your confidence. I say I am a person who, when I fail, I look for another way to approach the challenge. And when the day done, you say, did I do that? And you say, yeah. Me say me not give up when me get one no. I go on a 10 no, them have to give me before me stop. And look here, me get a second no today, I still get up and I still push. When you're able to grade your actions against your principles and realize that you're consistent, but say me I do this, I do, build up your confidence again. To go step back out on the farm and plant a seed, it build up your faith. And I forgot to remind you, when we talk about the positive affirmations, find a way to back it up with a power that is higher than you, if you believe that there is a power higher than you. Me know I never met myself, so there has to be a creator. And I look for inspiring spiritual words in spiritual texts, including the Bible. So I back up every affirmation with a scripture. And my example was, the good in me brings good to me. I back that up with a scripture from Romans 8. All things are working together for the good of them who love God and are called to God's purpose. So every affirmation I back it up with a scripture. Then we set up some principles now. Check myself every day, every evening before I go to bed. Me think, and I know these questions now by heart, and I reflect on how I performed to see if action line up with intention and principle. And we cut out that need for comparison to others when we are constantly comparing ourselves to ourselves. Zizi, let's bring it down a little, baby. Okay? All right? Yeah. Thank you. I'm almost done. So, yeah, we take out the need to compare ourselves with others by constantly comparing ourselves to ourselves. And then the final thing is around assessing the core areas of your life. And if you need some help to do that, if you've purchased the planner already, you will get that. And it's actually our section on our quality of life assessment section, where we actually explore with you your key life areas. We invite you to assess it and determine what your next best steps are to move from wherever you think there is lack and an absence of a harvest.
Mommy,
and determine what you will do next to get that. Yes, ma'am?
it's so loud.
I am so loud? I wasn't so loud. You had your headphones on. You couldn't even hear me.
It's so loud.
It's not so loud. You were actually so loud.
No, I'm not loud.
Yes, you were. You went na 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 na. Yeah, you have to be quiet.
No.
You're going to be loud.
Yeah.
I told you you were loud.
La 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 la.
Where's it? Where's the plate with the gummies? Huh?
It's in my lap.
Okay.
I want to take you my gummies.
The gummies finished. You had all of them today. The only gummies you have are your daily gummies, and that's only for the morning. Okay? So that's it for me tonight, guys. I'm done. Sending you lots of love and blessings for the rest of 2022. And if you are a faithless farmer and if you are struggling to find the confidence in your competence, Remember those 3 strategies and recommendations. Hello, we're not going to touch that.
I want my bag.
No, no, you don't. You just want it because you see something on it. We're not going to touch that. Okay?
I want my bag.
Wait, you'll get it soon. I'll come and help you in a few minutes.
I want a bag.
Wait, you're going to get some help. Right. Reminding you of the 3 strategies. The affirmations. Talk positively into yourself and surround yourself with people who are doing the same. Make sure you set up and establish your principles and review and compare yourself to your principles. Stop comparing yourself to other people. And finally, find a way to do a proper assessment of what your life is like right now, where the actual deficits are, where it feels empty, where it feels barren, where it's fallow, where you're planting but you're not seeing the kind of harvest that you thought you would. Look deeply at your life and determine, from a life assessment tool or process, determine how best to move into the restoration, the renovation, the renewal as you return to your life's farm. My recommendation, of course, is to get the Success Farmer's Guide because it has all of those tools packed into it. It's a planner/guide that calls you into emotional awareness. So I built it because that's what worked for me, and it was hard to find planners that encapsulated both things, the need for productivity and the need for emotional wellness and constant review and assessment of self. And without that, we really don't stand a very good chance at getting out of toxic cycles and staying on the positive momentum that we managed to build for ourselves.